Well, I have some big news to talk about. We mentioned it at the top of the show, so let's get to it here. The Angels have fired manager Joe Maddon. L.A. is currently in the midst of a 12-game losing streak and has fallen 8.5 games back of the Astros in the AL West. Maddon was in his third year at the helm, despite spending furious sums of money on Mike Trout, Anthony Rendon, and Justin Upton over the last 8 years. Angels have not been in the postseason since 2014, when they were swept by the Royals here. And so a look now, the Angels' record under Joe Maddon. The issue for the Angels hasn't necessarily always been hitting, but it's been pitching. We will get to more on Maddon in a second. And here's an exchange that happened with Joe Maddon and a reporter prior to him being released, which may or may not have had something to do with the Angels' decision.
What do you think? But you asked a different question. What do you think?
I'm asking you.
Are you saying we're not competing?
I'm not saying that. I'm curious if you think so.
Well, I mean, then you must be thinking that if you asked the question.
Well, I'm not the manager, but you guys have lost 12 in a row. I think it's a fair question. He said he's asking you a question.
I am. I'm asking you the question back. Because I obviously think we're playing hard. We're not winning games right now, but I'm not going to denigrate the effort by the guys. I'm asking if you're seeing that, because I'm not.
I mean,
is that a fair question?
I've not won a World Series as a manager, so I wouldn't.
All right, let's move on.
All right, so that was Joe Maddon speaking to Sam Blum, who's a reporter for The Athletic, and he asked Joe at the end of another loss, it was 12 games in a row, whether he thought the team was still competing, and Joe took a little bit of exception to that. But big picture here, Angels, it's the longest losing streak, Anthony, so far this year. They were expected to compete. Yeah. They were in first place for a little bit early on here of the season. The bottom has fallen out here. Your thoughts are on the Angels deciding it's time to move in another direction. Phil Nevin's going to take over.
Yeah, look, this feels a little bit like doing something to do it and not necessarily because it was Joe Maddon's fault, right? It's similar to how we felt, or at least how I felt about the Joe Girardi situation. But when you have a team that comes in with expectations, especially a team like the Angels that is full of ex-MVPs, full of, all-stars, Shohei Ohtani, one of the greatest players in the game right now. Anthony Rendon's been hurt here and there. Mike Trout's been on the IL a little bit, but they went out and bought some pitching. You thought that maybe I'm not going to say that they had the solution there, but that they certainly might be on the right track. They haven't been able to get it going, at least obviously over the last 12 games. They had it rolling early. So this is, to me, a little bit of an overreaction. But again, you got to talk about trying to fire up a team, get them going, figure out a way to change something up. Maybe it's that voice in the clubhouse. Look, I'm not going to put this on Maddon, but at some point, yeah, there's got to be accountability. And like we were talking about yesterday with the Phillies and Joe Girardi, you get some accountability maybe by, pulling the head coach or pulling the manager, and now everybody in that clubhouse has to look at each other and say, whoa, is this my fault?
Yeah, I think we all know Joe Maddon is a winner, but I think when you look at the big scheme of things, you look at losing 12 in a row, I don't think there's ever been a team to lose 12 in a row and make the playoffs. We talk about numbers. There's some guys behind the scene that, they're recording these numbers and watching what's happening. So something that we don't see is the, in-house things. We will never hear about those things. So for them to make this decision, I'm not sure if it was an overreaction per se, but I think when you have Mike Trout, when you have Ohtani, when you have Rendon, when you have a lot of money invested in these guys, we want to see Mike Trout in the playoffs. We want to see those guys, get in and have opportunities. So when you see them going through this funk and this struggle, like you said, somebody has to be the scapegoat. Right now is Joe Maddon, and hopefully these guys can respond like the Phillies have responded.
Cam, you've been on teams where managers have been let go. Do the players look at themselves in the mirror in the clubhouse and say, hey, what part of this is on me? Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, Anthony Rendon, are those guys, Noah Syndergaard, are those guys saying, hey, we let Joe down? Yeah,
I thought about this the other day when Joe Girardi was let go. A couple things can happen. You see the Phillies bounce back, and everybody's going, wow, the Phillies are playing so great. Well, as a player, a couple things happen. Like you said, you have to look in the mirror. The last thing you want to do as a player is, be responsible for the manager being let go. So once he's gone, now the last thing you want to do is come back in that clubhouse and step on the field and continue to go backwards, continue to go downhill. A sense of pride starts to settle in as a man, as a competitor, and thinking about the fans, what they're going going through, and you got to say, hey, we've got to figure out how to come together collectively as a group and get this thing back on track. So, yeah, there's got to be some accountability from a player standpoint for sure.
Funny enough that the Phillies fired Joe and ended up playing the Angels 3 games in a row, right. And they felt like they were rolling good because, yeah, they were playing the Angels right now, and the Angels are not playing good baseball. I think some of this comes down to it's one of those stretches in baseball, and you know, Cam, it doesn't matter what happens over the course of a week or 2 weeks. It's about what happens over 162. When you have a team like this Angels team, they're not going to keep losing like this. It's not going to happen. So that's why, to me, getting rid of Joe, I get it, and I'm not saying it's the wrong move. I think there did need to be some kind of a change there in that clubhouse environment, but you know they're going to bounce back. You know there's going to be a point in time where this Angels team is going to rip off 6, 7, 8 in a row because they're too talented not to. And when they do that, it's unfortunate that Joe got the axe now because he would have been part of the solution in a couple weeks when that happens.
And something to keep in mind, Perry Manazian, the president of baseball operations / GM in LA, he did not hire Joe Maddon. That was under Billy Epler's watch when Billy Epler was the general manager of the Angels. And so maybe Perry has different thoughts and ideas about how he wants to move forward.
And it's been said that Artie Moreno had a big influence in that. And so...
Yeah, Artie Moreno, I mean, he say what you want about Angels. The Angels fans can say what they want about their ownership, but they have gone out and spent a ton of money, including on the manager, to see if they can improve the team.
And money, not everything. Let me say from personal experience, and this is no knock on anybody, I'm wondering when you go through a losing streak, who in that clubhouse is going to be the guy to say, hey, you know what? We need to sit down. We need to come together. We need to figure it out. We need to pull together. I love Mike Trout. He's an amazing superstar, but that doesn't mean he's always the guy who's going to, pull everybody in and bring everybody together and say, hey, what are we going to do? So I don't know who that guy is going to be in that clubhouse, but they got to find that guy.
I like it. All right, Cam Maben with a hot take.